Mehdi, I'm watching chat. I think we're ready to go. Right? Not anymore. Okay. Hi, hello, welcome to our webinar. My name is Mehdi from DCS Global. And today we're gonna discuss excellence in collaboration with our partner here at Logitech. Before we begin, I want to go over some house rules first. If you have any questions, please feel free to jot them down in that chat feature, and my team and I will monitor chat. And this session will be recorded so you can watch it later or share with friends. And I want to thank you all again joining us. And without further ado, I want to introduce Randy Marcotte, our president here at DCS Global. Thank you, Mehdi. I'm just going to queue up the content a little bit, and I do appreciate our other special guest, Pike over there at Logitech. He'll do a little bit of introduction himself, and then Jordan from Barella. More on them in just a bit. We did have a couple of little logistics we wanted to cover. As Mehdi mentioned, this is a recorded webinar. Your Q&A sessions, I can see folks in chat. Go ahead and add them in. That chat's going to come to me and a couple of people who are offline. And we'll answer those directly or live incorporated. We're going to end pretty sharp at 30 minutes. And for those of you that had submitted some questions ahead of time for demo, Pike's going to stick around after for additional Logi demo. So again, Jordan, very much thank you. We'll hear more about why it's exciting to have you here in just a bit. And then Pike, we really appreciate the support from Logitech. The partnership is excellent, mostly because of you and the rest of the team. So the another introduction. Craig Jacobson has just joined. He's going to talk a little bit about the outcomes of the webinar, and he'll help facilitate. He's our Chief Revenue Officer, and then here to help Jordan with some of the Q&A that's coming in. So with that being said, I'll start a timer too, just to keep myself on track. We're not ones to read the entire scope of slides to folks on these webinars, but we do want to make sure you understand some of the outcomes that are coming out of this webinar. One, we want to have a review with experts around the business outcomes of some of the technology that Logitech has to offer and the implications for how we could modify your conference rooms. You'll hear a little bit about how we took that approach with Jordan in that the second bullet, the real world success story. Call it a success story because I was there during all the sausage making, but we're also challenging Jordan to talk a little bit about the challenges slash opportunities and discoveries that we made when deploying this through his organization. Then obviously we're going to turn this into a time to look at some burning questions. So Mehdi, Pike, unless there's any logistics from Jordan or Craig, I'm going to happily turn it over to you guys. I'll kill content share, Pike, because I know you've got some. And then if you wouldn't mind telling the group anything about yourself that you'd like to know, or the demo center that you're in, and then the mic is yours, content sharing as well.
Excellent. Yeah, I want to, again, thanks everyone for joining. A little bit about myself. My name is Pike. I'm a solution engineer, specifically committed to our distribution channel. So I work with our distributors and, of course, our great partners, such as DCS and Randy and team. And I'm really here to, better explain some of the problems that we're trying to really solve. To Randy's point, a lot has changed. Hybrid is here to stay. And today we're really focusing on meeting equity and how we can solve some of these challenges that just happens, especially from the far side. Been with Logitech for 18 years, so I'm a bit of a dinosaur, but started my new adventure in VC about 3.5 years ago. So came from a different department, and also love trainings, love webinars. So I really enjoy the Q&A sessions and learning more from our customers. So getting to know Jordan and hearing a little bit more about his onboarding story with our solutions. So today I think we have a few slides. Not sure if you want to bring them up. If not, I can actually present to them as well. I think what I'll do is I just want to show a couple of visuals, and then we'll go into a real demo. And in this scenario, I'm just actually gonna quickly bring up one of my screens here. I'm gonna go ahead and connect to the room here, and there we go. I'm gonna share my entire screen now. Don't worry, we're not gonna use these 660 slides of this PowerPoint. We're only going to do 300 slides. I'm just kidding. But really excited to kind of walk you through Logitech's site. And you know, the fun part is really the demo, right? But before we get into the demo, I think it's important to explain a little bit of the history behind this solution and what it is, and also most important, what it's not. So I usually like to start when I have conversations with our customers and partners to explain that this is not a 360 camera. If we want to get really into the details, it's actually by design slightly more narrowed. It's 315 degrees. And the reason for that is that this is not a standalone product. This is really an add-on to the existing conference room solution that we started building out with our video collab bars for medium and large spaces. So think of Rally Bar Mini. This is a great add-on to that solution because we feel that, you know, the front of room camera plays a significant role, and that's not going to go away with just throwing a camera on the table. But we feel that adding in many of these solutions, adding a tabletop camera such as site is really going to enhance the experience and solve a lot of these problems that can occur. So one example is, for instance, you know, if you take the gentleman there in the front of the room near the conferencing solution, you know, he might be looking at his laptop, maybe presenting something. And you get this whole challenge of, you know, let's call the gentleman Bob. Where's Bob, right? And then you also have scenarios where, you know, the people that are in the back, we can definitely zoom in on that individual, right? You know, we have features, you know, that are called, you know, speaker focus and focus on an individual. But what if, you know, we have different conversations happening, right? So I like to kind of break that down into, there's really two types of conversations, right? There's a conversation that I'm having right now, really with yourself at the far end. And we have eye contact, and that, you know, that's easily solved with just the front of room camera. And, you know, if you know, the camera could potentially also, you know, focus specifically on an individual. I'm just giving you a manual shot. So I can have it preset. I can have it auto frame as an active speaker, and it could focus on me. But what we're really trying to tackle here is, you know, just to give you a little bit of a different view here. We're all used to this bowling alley view, right? And the more people enter the room, and speaking of entering, we're going to have someone else join for this demo. Thank you. I'm not even going to say his name because I'll have him introduce himself here in a second. I'm just kind of quickly going through kind of what this solution is all about and what we're solving here. But it's really, how do we capture two viewpoints, right? And not have this bowling alley look. Now, this is quite dramatic. So picture if there's more people, I could really be that tiny minion in the back. In this scenario, again, we can do the auto framing where it's just going to automatically focus on the three people in the room. And of course, it can adapt. So if I decide to, you know, sit here, we still have this problem, right? If I, you know, lean back and such. So the camera
That
can
is a
adapt.
problem, the disappearing pike. We don't want that.
I love playing hide and seek. I got a 4-year-old. I do it all the time. So, but it's really the two perspectives, right? And that's what we're going to show you here. How can we make sure that the far end feels engaged of these conversations that are happening in the room? And that's what we're going to demo for you right now. So we're going to stop sharing and really get to a real demo.
Like during the demo, if you wouldn't mind referencing the scribe too, I think it'd be useful just because you do have such a great demo room, and the two products that people sent ahead of time was a request about site and scribe. And then this is your 5-minute warning, sir.
Yeah, the 5 minutes. So yeah, real quick, you could see, I'm just going to manually zoom. We do have a whiteboard, and maybe what we'll do is we'll first jump into that demo quickly. So this is a purpose-built solution for whiteboarding, and it's I'm a terrible artist, but I'll just start with a little smiley face. It's not very original, but good luck seeing what I put on there, right? Now, what if I tell you that, I could actually bring this whiteboard into this space, and I can stand in front. So I like this view because you can see, even for the people in the room, I'm blocking the whiteboard. They're not even seeing what I'm writing. And I'll just show you the latency is very low. If I do 1, 2, 3, 4, and it quickly captures that. And what's also impressive, of course, we cover green. I know, very creative, green, and we cover red. But for time's sake, now you can record the session and capture a whiteboard and then erase it. And you can see that's the digital capture, but you can really see that actually you get a far better experience in really from a sharing perspective than versus if you look at the board. It's a little hard to see, but you can barely see that C. This is a glass whiteboard. The marker is starting to, lose ink. And then I'm also lazy because if I would have done this right, this is, of course, a much fuller C, but you kind of see how it actually enhances this. And as soon as I'm done, I just hit the button and, back to my meeting. It's honestly, it's that easy. So we're going to switch to kind of that conventional auto framing, which again, we offer for all our solutions. And we're going to switch on the site. So the site is designed to really figure out, okay, who are the active speakers in the room, right? Now, can we technically frame everyone? Yes, we can. And, who knows, we may build on that. But I think the real technology here is the conversations that it will capture. So I want to also have Joel introduce himself here. Joel, tell me a little bit about what you do here at Logitech and what you had for breakfast or what you're going to have for dinner, whatever.
Not a problem. So my name is Joel. I'm part of the IT telecom group here at Logitech.
You can ignore them. You can just pretend that we've never met because we can have a conversation. We don't have to focus at the far end, but they still feel that they're part of it, right?
Definitely. Yeah. So, part of the telecom group here, mainly responsible for all of our VC equipment. Essentially, we're customer zero.
Yeah.
We get to play with
your biggest customer, right?
Exactly.
I'm always on your game. Oh, I need this, I need that. Yeah.
Yes. So I'll skip what I had for breakfast because it really wasn't anything. It was fruit bread, and that's essentially just snacking. But for dinner, we're having fish and tilapia tonight. So
nice. And you can also see, I also deliberately interrupt Joel because we do full duplex. It happens, right? Okay, we'll pass it on to Mehdi, and again, you can ignore them. Why don't you tell us a little bit about your we were talking about commuting, right? How long did it take you today with the BARD?
Oh yeah, I commuted down here. It took about 2 hours. That was like a
Did you get any emails done on the BARD, or were you just watching Netflix?
I was looking at emails.
Yeah, I know.
Basically.
But it's like time travel for me. When I'm on the BARD, like today I was on the 880 and it was just like terrible traffic. It's you're almost there, right? But productivity at best, right? Work from anywhere. That's awesome. So you can see here, right, the conversation. Joel exited the conversation. As these conversations happen, we start capturing different participants, and we can capture up to 4 participants with sight. Now that means that if you position it well, it could capture people on this side or over there, and that's again. I see the clock is running out, so we're going to take a little pause to see if there's any questions. I'm not sure if you've experienced this yet, Jordan. This might be your first demo as well.
It is. It's wonderful to see, actually. I mean, this has long been promised, this sort of technology, but it's great to see it in action and how much further it's come from the early days when we saw examples of this at other companies.
It's funny you mentioned that. So fun fact, right? We didn't build this because people put 360 cameras out in the market. We've been developing sight before we started building the rally bar. So the site has been under development. It has been a vision of one of our PMs since 2018. That's how long we've been working on this and making sure that we can really deliver this experience. Another fun last little quick demo. And I'm gonna have Joel tell me, what are your plans for the weekend, Joel? And I'm gonna actually stand to showcase that it will reframe me as it positions me. But yeah, what are your plans for the
We were
weekend?
actually attending a wedding. One of my cousins is finally getting married. So
Finally getting
she's,
married. That's
yep.
I
big
love that you
jump.
said
Nice.
finally getting married. No
Well,
judgment there.
They've been engaged for quite a while, and this is the second time that they had to move the date. So I guess that's why I said finally.
Finally,
We've all been
it's
waiting.
happening, right? Notice how we still see eye to eye, even though I'm standing, right? This is the magic of sight. Like, it doesn't matter. Everyone is the same height yet again, which is great on that video conferencing. So awesome. I really appreciate you joining us here for a second. Thank you for your time, and I'll let you get back to the important stuff.
So
Awesome.
Pike, there were a
Thank you,
couple of
everyone.
things that came. Yeah, thank you very much, sir. Appreciate you participating. A couple of things that
Thank
came
you.
in over chat that I wanted to make sure folks understood. It is not a standalone camera, and so the site
design.
unit, yeah, by design. And it does have its own microphones in it, so it does help improve our microphone deployment in the collaboration space, and it does do a touch to mute. So there's some technical questions came in. It is a network cable directly to the base of the unit, and so we can handle some nice clean cabling. And Pike, I
Yeah.
know we're going to do some transitions to Jordan now, Pike, but I know the last thing that came in over chat was how many can you have in the room? I believe right now 1 is supported and 2 is pending.
Yeah, 2 is under development. And for those who like to stay, we can revisit these questions and talk a little bit more from how it's installed and what the roadmap is, because there's a lot more exciting features coming to site. But yes, with that, back to you, Randy.
Lovely demo. Thank you for the briefing center. We've offered to Jordan a time to take his technical team down there, any of the executives that may want to see the demo center you're in is in San Jose. There are other demo centers scattered around the country. So if you're watching this webinar and want some Pike time, I understand. We can certainly schedule you for some time in San Jose, but if you're not in the San Jose area or Bay Area, we can certainly get you into other locations. We also have a try it till you like it or try and buy program. So if you want to kick the tires, please do so. So that actually gives you a little bit of a transition to why Forella and why Logitech. We're an integrator, a reseller, a consultation company that helps people design conference rooms. And here's an example of one of the kind of the legacy infrastructure. It was just literally about a camera and some TVs and some microphones. But we're really taking that transition with Logitech to the enhanced experience of collaboration spaces. And so I just want to have you reference our website. We also have a web store where you can see some of these products. And then really we wanted to make sure as I transition to Craig and Jordan, that you understand our core values, our core components in our approach. Value, products need to have value to you and your business problems. Innovation, we want to stay ahead of the curve and on track with your demands. The partnership is bi-directional. If we don't answer your email in a timely manner, if we don't call you back in a timely manner, that's not a partnership. And our manufacturers live to those same principles. All of that gets wrapped in excellence. One of the previous brands was Perfect Video Conferencing. A large goal when it's technology, because technology is quite frankly sometimes not perfect. And so we want to be measured by that excellence. It's the approach to get there and our response, and then the ultimate outcomes for your business, which is part of our transition to Craig and Jordan. He experienced us through the AV integration process. A little bit of background, he and one of his colleagues knew me from a prior deployment. And really what it came down to is the architects, the stakeholders, and the key innovators in the organization wanted to design a new workplace. And so with that in mind, they had equity, and the new workplace is not just how they engage in the workspace, but how they use technology and office booking and kind of democratizing the access to collaboration throughout the organization. He'll certainly tell you more about that. But for us, it was one of the projects last year that was not only one of Logitech's larger deployments in the year, but also one of the more innovative approaches to the way people are using this collaboration technology today and in the future. So Craig, I know you had a couple introductions. I'm going to reset the clock. I'm ahead of pace for me. Give you guys 10 minutes or so, and then we'll do some wrap up. So Craig, I don't know if you want to do a quick introduction of yourself and then have Jordan introduce himself, and let's hit those questions.
Sure, I appreciate that, Randy. So my name is Craig Jacobson. I'm the Chief Revenue Officer for DCS Global. So in short, I've got responsibility for our sales and from a revenue perspective and marketing. And excited to be here. I appreciate the overview of the product. Pike, that was exceptional. Very cool stuff. Jordan, as always, I can't thank you enough and really appreciate you taking time out of your schedule to speak to the value of the solutions that we propose to you.
My pleasure.
I don't want to limit your time. We're short on time, so I want to get just right to it.
Sure.
So, with respect to the best experience, the solution and all, can you describe what your experience with the solution, some of the highlights of what you've experienced?
Sure. Well, the solution is integral for us now. It all kind of came around at a perfect storm in terms of timing, right? There was COVID, the mass move out of offices, the kind of mass move or to some degree back in a hybrid environment. But at the same time, we'd been in the same building for 60 years. We'd already been planning to move offices. And so it all kind of came about at the same time. And so we were designing this new office and also moving to a hybrid work environment. So we're an all hoteling model. So there no, which is very rare for a law firm and for attorneys. So none of the attorneys have their own office. They book an office in advance, the day before, the day of, come in, and that's made the conference room technology far more critical than it used to be. So the best part of the experience has been the ease of sort of the maintenance, the ease of our support of it, and the ease for the users. It's made it so that integrating in that technology and the ability to work effectively in a hybrid environment, both with each other as coworkers and with our clients, has been exceptionally easy. One of my favorite things is to walk around when I do come into the office, which is less than it used to be, which is great for me, and to just see how many people have set up kind of impromptu meetings in offices, either with colleagues who are working from home or with clients. And the fact that my team now rarely has to get involved with setting those up or supporting them. They're just jumping in, doing that all themselves. So that to me is what's been best about the solution.
So inherently, you just answered my second question. So I was curious if there were any problems or challenges that you guys have faced.
I'm going to say my biggest challenge is time, and that my inability to spend enough time with our users to get them even more advanced on the feature set. I think people are using it very well, but we're supporting a large organization and there's a great deal of challenges we have with a very small team. And I would love to be able to dedicate more time to getting all of our users more up to speed on some of the more advanced features they can use. Because frankly, most of them are happy with sort of what just happens when you hit that join meeting. And they're not necessarily thinking about the more advanced things that you can do with it to make the experience even better. So that to me has been the challenge, but that's a challenge that's not easily met, but certainly meetable and one that we've been working on.
Okay. So Sync versus Zoom remote management and reporting, do you use it?
I do. I use both. So for me, this is a both and not an either or. So the Sync site for me is really good for looking at device health and device updating. And the Zoom portal, we're really a Zoom shop, right? We've got Zoom Phone, we're Zoom One licensing is really great for all of the feature set for remote support. If I need, one of my staff members needs to support a meeting at the time, they can go in, look right at the tap panel and make any adjustments they need to make. So for meeting specific help or general Zoom meeting support and reporting, I'm going to the Zoom panel, but for the device aspect of it, updates, looking at device health, monitoring that, then we're looking at the Sync portal, and the two together work really well.
I think you hit it on the nail. That's how, as a sales engineer, I leverage exactly how, we position Sync, right? It's not, one replaces the others.
No.
The Sync is really a
tandem.
companion. It's a companion to ZDM.
And
as
to both,
we are.
to both companies' credits, they're both very comprehensible, right? You don't have to dig in far to find exactly what you need and get what you want. None of my staff have to be experts on these platforms in order to go in and do basic maintenance. And that's what I've appreciated the most, because it's really allowed us to distribute the support elements out to more members of my team, and I don't have to have a few subject matter experts
Right.
dealing with that sort of thing.
So
Just a quick
as
break
the
in
solution,
because
I'm
yeah,
sorry, go
hold on
ahead.
a second. Yeah, just a quick break in, gentlemen. We did get a question that came directly to me about what is deployed. So let me just do Jordan, I don't know if you want to talk through what you have on Prim, but really the only products we didn't do at Forella because we have small, medium, and large and a kind of an immersive training space. The only Logi products we didn't do was Scribe because it wasn't out yet, Sight because it wasn't out yet, and he didn't need. We use the switch units, but then since Zoom, that's the toggle BYO D device. But now that Zoom supports third-party dial outs, we haven't
Yeah.
needed the switch as much. It has made a nice direct connect for higher quality content share, but Jordan has every one of the conferencing products. And related to that question about materials, Jordan, a question came is like, is he having any problems with microphones? Did you want to speak to that? I know I helped you solve some of that, but go ahead, sir.
Sure. I mean, there was a period of tuning for sure. And I think with any deployment as large as ours, there's going to be times where there's a particular piece of equipment that might not be working as well as you want. But with Randy's team and the Logitech support, we've pretty much ironed all that out. And no, we're really happy with the audio. And for me, I think everyone, well, many people feel the same way I do, that audio is king. I really like, you need that good video experience, but if I'm at home and I'm having bad audio on the other end, I'm going to tune out much quicker than if I have bad video. So I worked with Randy very early on to let him know that there was critical that we get good audio in these rooms. And aside from one room, which is not their fault and we're still working on it, and that's not a Logi issue, I think we have excellent audio across the board. And so, yeah, no, we haven't had any problems with the table microphones. And that's in the larger rooms, which some of them do have a combination of not simply Logi audio as well, where there's a couple that have some hybrid solutions. But especially in our smaller rooms, it's just Logi audio. It's great. Yeah, we've had no complaints.
And we've had, and we actually ceiling mounted them prior to the pendant becoming available. So we were able to retrofit the cabling, and because of design and because of the natural noise of table tapping and the wall of laptops, Jordan and the design team wanted the microphones on the ceiling. So we pendented these units, and it's made for a much better Logi experience. You also modified your build out by having sound masking and sound dampening. So you've got materials in the room that help soften the rooms. And then you've got pink and white noise introduced above plenum so that we're not getting as much HVAC return in these rooms. So you've done some of the best practices from a video conferencing perspective so that Logitech can perform to the metrics that they designed. So thanks for the materials conversation. Craig, what else do you have on your list, sir?
I was just curious, you manage ultimately by default, you kind of own the management of your internal users with respect to the experience. Do you get any feedback from them directly as to, from your team?
Absolutely, all the time, right? I mean, for both from my team and from the users, and it's overwhelmingly positive. The ease of use, coming from the environment we had before, which was spread across many floors, and we had, I think, maybe 3 kind of really low-level conference rooms capable of video conferencing. The ease with which people were able to step in and use this, and how comfortable they feel with it, kind of right off the bat, with not a lot of input from us, has been a really positive experience for them, and they're not shy about telling us about that. We get any negative feedback we get is almost always down to user error, and that just allows us to step in and take them to school a little bit, teach them how to use the equipment, show them some of those more advanced features. And I have to say, for my direct team, the support team, it's also been a positive experience, because supporting these systems is very straightforward. It's not, again, none of my team have to be necessarily subject matter experts to step in and help someone get a really good experience in one of these rooms. And that's important for me, because I need my entire team, back end and front end, to be really flexible, and everybody should be able to step in and offer assistance in one of these rooms, which we don't have to do that often.
Excellent. So looking back, I guess if you had a button to go back in time, besides buying lottery tickets or whatever else.
Or Bitcoin.
Would you change anything with the design? Anything you would do different?
Well, I mean, hindsight's always 2020. We did come in at a, as Randy mentioned, at this inflection point when Zoom was about to launch with some features that now overtake features that we purchased, like the switch cable. I wouldn't have gotten those. We don't need them anymore. We don't use them anymore, right? They're now just kind of there. And we have one room in particular. So my advice to everyone would be, if you're building out a design and you're planning a larger room, right, which would be maybe for client events, that's going to hold more than just a single table with that sort of bowling alley view, really put in the time to make sure that your architects are aligned with your equipment, are aligned with your marketing team, to make sure that you've got best in class and what you really need. Because while that room is getting into shape, I think many of those pieces weren't quite talking together in the right way, and so we've really had to sort of beat it into shape to get what we want. But we're really close now, so that would be my one regret, I guess.
Yeah, I'd say too, Jordan, we had conduit and cabling
Yeah.
issues that could have been mitigated during construction. So the OAC or the design meetings, a tighter cadence on those at the early stage, knowing the product that you're choosing helps mitigate post-install challenges. So,
That's right.
do I have a floor trench cord, a power in the right locations, and some really nerdy things that actually make time and maintenance a lot easier. You didn't go inexpensive on your television mounting too. So you did sort of the best practices of having easy release TV mount. So then you haven't needed a lot of on-site AV support because your team can do some quick switches to these devices because you did spend well up front.
Yeah, I mean, overall, I'd say the very minor regrets, if any. Overall, we're extremely happy with it and extremely happy with the choices we make, both with Logi and with Perfect Video. They've both been great partners in this. And what was for us an enormous transition culturally and technically, and just in the sense of the overall design of our business.
Do you have any metrics on your room occupancy, or do you have a sense of the 20 plus rooms that you have in production? Use or no use, and what's keeping them quiet? I know you're also using the schedulers and then the red and green outside of the room. So what's that been like for you guys?
I'd say we don't actually use the schedulers that much. They're there and they're very useful for us, but people are normally scheduling either at their desks or in advance. If there's any drop-in needed, people are just dropping into the huddle rooms because we have so many of those that really serves that purpose. So for us, the schedulers haven't been as necessary. Our usage is really high. I mean, again, I think outside of people just scheduling meetings in advance, of which there's a lot of that, there's just a lot of drop-in sessions. I see the huddle rooms getting tremendous use by the attorneys who are in the office, pulling each other into one of those rooms to review documents together, or call one of their colleagues at home and have that conversation between three of them rather than the three separate offices. And I think it helps that we're in a hoteling model, which means no one feels that pinned into their office. It's not their space. And so moving to a collaborative space feels more natural because everything's sort of a collaborative space and more fluid. Yeah. So
Jordan, the biggest value add that I see and why Scheduler is by far the most sold product for us. It's because, and I'm not sure if you have enabled that, then I would love to know, the value add of the Scheduler is, I agree, not really booking a meeting. It's the check-in. So if someone doesn't check into this room and we're all on an offsite, the room will release itself, making it available for everyone. That's a huge value add to the check-in feature that scheduling will give you. The other thing is, if our meeting is an hour, but we're done in half an hour, I can walk up to the scheduler and end the actual session so someone else can use the space. Or the other side, right? It's an hour, but I need to extend the meeting. So those are some features that I like to share with our partners and customers, because that's where the scheduler really pays off, is that extending or the room releasing itself.
No, I could see that. I think to be real talk on that for us, these are attorneys. They're not going to do that kind of stuff themselves. If they want an extra half an hour, they're just going to take it. And if they're not going to show up for a meeting, they're just not going to show up. And then we just deal with it. But none of those things have been a problem for us, luckily. But I can see how those would be really good features.
Yeah.
All right, we've incorporated the Q&A that came into me chat. There's a couple that are more Logi and product related. We, in this webinar, because we're recording it, we won't be talking about future product releases. So Pike, I've suppressed a couple of the stuff about future features that really would would require a non-disclosure or at least a roadmap conversation. So a
Yeah,
couple
I'll
of
share what I'm
rules are
allowed.
coming. Yeah, good, good. And then Craig, I know you had some coming to you, so this is my indelicate approach to try to do a little bit of a wrap up here. Is there anything else, Craig, that was on the list that came into you, sir?
No, I just thank you, Jordan, for taking time out of your schedule to
Absolutely. Thank
obviously
you.
talk about your experience with the solutions and your confidence in DCS and PVC. Pike, as always, thank you. We're going to go ahead and wrap up. I guess stop the video, the webinar video. We will stay online to take some Q&A if anybody's interested in hanging around, but we want to be respectful of everybody's time and try to hold as close to schedule as we can. So again, thank you for all who have attended. Randy, you want to close?